What would you do if you saw a homeless person on the street? Cold, hungry, forgotten by the world. Would you stop? Would you help? Now imagine that person is a veteran. And imagine the person who stops is Donald Trump. This isn't a press conference. There are no cameras, no crowd. Just a former president, a city sidewalk, and a decision that changed someone's life. It was a cold Tuesday afternoon in Manhattan, the kind where the wind cuts through even the thickest coats. Donald Trump, in a dark overcoat and signature red tie, walked briskly along Fifth Avenue. He had just left a meeting, nothing political, just business, and in a rare moment of solitude, had opted to take a short walk. He passed familiar landmarks, Trump Tower gleaming in the distance, tourists snapping photos. But his gaze drifted as he neared the intersection of 5th and 57th. There, huddled against the wall of a closed storefront, was a woman. She was bundled in layers of mismatched clothing, holding a cardboard sign that read, "Veteran, cold, hungry, anything helps." Trump paused. The crowd flowed around him, some staring, some pretending not to notice. He approached, lowering his voice. "Ma'am, are you okay?" The woman looked up, startled. Her face was weathered, eyes tired, but she recognized him instantly. "Mr. Trump?" she asked, almost in disbelief. He nodded. "Yes, what's your name?" "Jasmine. Jasmine Hayes. I served in the Army. 8 years. Then, things fell apart." Trump didn't interrupt. He listened. Jasmine explained, briefly, injury overseas, mounting bills, a job lost, and no family close by. "The cold wasn't the worst part," she said. "It was being invisible." Trump was silent for a beat. Then he took out his phone. "Stay right here," he said. "Let me make a call." He stepped a few feet away, dialed quickly. "Get me Tony. I need a room. Tonight. Warm, safe, and a hot meal." Back with Jasmine, he knelt slightly, looking her in the eyes. "You're not invisible. Not today." Moments later, a black SUV pulled up. A hotel staff member emerged, holding a warm blanket. Trump helped Jasmine into the SUV, speaking quietly to the driver. "Take good care of her. She's seen too much to be left out here." Jasmine, holding back tears, whispered, "Thank you, Mr. Trump. I don't know what to say." He nodded, firm but kind. "Get warm. Rest. We'll talk again soon." The SUV drove off, merging into traffic. Trump stood for a moment, watching. No cameras, no speeches, just a cold day, a small act, and a woman who wasn't invisible anymore. 2 days later, the cold still gripped Manhattan like a steel fist. But inside a modest hotel suite just off Central Park, Jasmine Hayes sat wrapped in a blanket, clutching a cup of hot tea. She hadn't slept this well in months. The bed? Heaven. The shower? A miracle. And the food? She'd forgotten what a warm meal felt like. The knock at the door startled her. She opened it cautiously and blinked. Donald Trump, standing there with a paper bag in hand. "Morning, Jasmine," he said. "Brought breakfast. Hope you like bagels." Jasmine stepped aside, still trying to wrap her head around it. "You came back?" Trump smiled. "Told you we'd talk again. Besides, Tony says you're a good guest. Haven't trashed the place yet." Jasmine chuckled. "Not planning to. This place, it's more than I've had in a long time." They sat at the small table by the window, sunlight filtering through sheer curtains. Trump poured coffee into 2 paper cups. Jasmine watched him, still unsure if this was all a dream. "So," Trump said, biting into a bagel, "tell me more about you, about what happened." Jasmine hesitated, but something about the moment felt safe. She spoke about her time overseas, the injury that sent her home, the job market that didn't care about her service, the couch surfing that turned into shelters, then streets. Trump didn't interrupt. He just listened. You know, Jasmine said finally, people see me and think I'm just another homeless person. They don't see the uniform I used to wear. They don't see what I gave up. Trump leaned back. They should. And they will. Let's change that. Jasmine blinked. What do you mean? He reached into his coat, pulled out a small folder. Inside, papers, names, phone numbers. A few folks I know, good people, veteran outreach, job training, housing assistance. I can make some calls, but only if you want me to. I won't push. Jasmine stared at the folder, heart pounding. This wasn't just charity. It was a chance. You'd really do that? Trump nodded. You've done more for this country than most people realize. You deserve a shot. Tears welled in her eyes, but she smiled. Okay, let's try. Trump stood, adjusted his coat. Good. Because I'm calling in a favor today. Get some rest. We're just getting started. As he left, Jasmine stood by the window, clutching the folder like it was gold. For the first time in a long time, the future wasn't a question mark. It was a path. One small step, and someone finally saw her. The next week passed like a whirlwind. Jasmine had met with a woman named Carla from Veterans United Support Services, a contact Trump had arranged personally. Carla was sharp, efficient, and more importantly, she listened. Within days, Jasmine was enrolled in a transitional housing program and set up for job readiness training. And the hotel? Trump had quietly extended her stay until her new housing was ready. No fanfare, no publicity, just quiet action. One morning, as Jasmine walked into her training class in Midtown, she paused. There, outside the building, was a familiar figure talking to Carla, Donald Trump. He wasn't making a scene, no cameras, no suits, just him, coat collar turned up against the wind. He saw Jasmine and gave a small nod. She smiled, waved, and walked inside. That afternoon, Carla approached her with a grin. So, you made quite the impression, Carla said. Jasmine raised an eyebrow. Me? How? Carla pulled out a folder. Again, filled with names, employers, companies veteran-friendly, all flagged personally by Trump's contacts. He said you're sharp, dedicated, and someone who just needed a door opened. He's making sure a few of them open. Jasmine didn't know what to say. Gratitude didn't cover it. A week later, Jasmine walked into her first interview in over a year. The nerves? Brutal. But she walked in straight, head high, resume in hand. She didn't mention Trump. Didn't need to. She got the job. On her own merit. Later that night, she texted a number saved simply as DT. Got the job. First shift next week. Thank you again. Minutes later, a reply. Told you, you've got grit. Make the most of it. Proud of you. Jasmine stared at the message, then out into the city. A city that had once ignored her now felt different. It wasn't about who Trump was. It was about what he did. He saw her. And that had changed everything. 2 months later, Jasmine Hayes stood behind the counter of a bustling coffee shop in Soho, the scent of espresso and fresh pastries swirling in the air. Her apron was a little wrinkled, her hair tied up in a messy bun. But her smile? Unshakable. Customers came and went, most never glancing twice at the woman handing them their morning caffeine fix. But Jasmine didn't mind. Being invisible behind a register was different than being invisible on the street. This time, she chose it. Life wasn't perfect, but it was hers again. She had an apartment now, a small studio in Brooklyn, the kind of place with peeling paint and creaky floors. but it was hers. Her paycheck? Modest, but enough to buy real groceries and maybe even save a little. And Trump? He hadn't hovered. After that text, he hadn't tried to control her journey. He had opened the door and let her walk through it. But sometimes, when things got hard, Jasmine would reread his message. You've got grit. Proud of you. One cold morning, as she set up the pastry case, her manager called out, "Hey Jazz, someone's here for you, says you know him." She turned, and there he was. Donald Trump, in his usual overcoat and red tie, standing in the doorway holding 2 coffee cups. Jasmine laughed, wiping her hands on her apron. "Didn't expect to see you here." Trump stepped inside, grinning. "I was in the neighborhood, figured I'd drop by, see how the city's best barista is doing." She shook her head. "You want a job? We pay in muffins." "Tempting," he said, handing her one of the cups. "Figured you might need this." They sat for a moment at the counter, chatting between customer rushes. Jasmine told him about her apartment, the leaky sink she'd fixed herself, and how she'd started writing again. Poems mostly. Trump listened, nodding, sipping his coffee. "You've come a long way," he said. Jasmine smiled. "Had a little help." He shook his head. "You did the work. I just gave a nudge." Before leaving, he handed her an envelope. She raised an eyebrow. "Just a little something," he said. "Not a handout. Call it a thank you for reminding me why small moments matter." Jasmine opened it after he left. Inside, a note. "Keep going. Never forget your worth. DT." And a check. Not huge, but enough to ease the burden. Enough to prove that sometimes people do care, even the ones you least expect. Months later, a new photo appeared on the wall at Veterans United's office. A framed shot of Jasmine, in her coffee shop uniform, smiling. Caption: Veteran, Survivor, Fighter. And in her apartment, above her small writing desk, hung Trump's note. Not for the name on it, but for the reminder that someone saw her when she felt unseen. And that changed everything. And just like that, one sidewalk meeting turned into something no one saw coming. A second chance, a new start, and a reminder that sometimes being seen is everything. Jasmine didn't need the spotlight. She just needed someone to say, "I see you. I believe in you." And maybe we all need a little more of that. If this story gave you even a tiny bit of hope, or made you think twice about how small acts can change lives, go ahead and hit that like button. Drop us a comment. We actually read them. And subscribe for more powerful stories with a personal touch. And hey, don't forget to turn on that notification bell, because next time we might just surprise you again. Stay kind, stay curious, and always keep your coffee hot and your heart open.